evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Fandom News Now. I'm your host, Zach Arnold, and this is a Fandom Empire exclusive broadcast. We're excited to have you along for this evening's content. Another week, another slate of news to talk about, and this one's going to be a little bit different, but it's also going to be pretty interesting. On tap tonight, company mergers, movie and TV announcements, and a whole lot more. One of the biggest of news that came out in the last couple of days, the information that is to sell its rights to Warner Media, which would give them a controlling interest in HBO Max, to a potential merger with those two companies and Discovery Plus. In a joint statement, the two companies said the transaction will combine Warner Media's storied content library of popular and valuable IP with Discovery's global footprint, a trove of local language content, and deep regional expertise across more than 200 countries and territories. This transaction totals approximately $40 in stocks, shares, and interest. CEO David Zaslav will serve as CEO of this group, with reports that Warner CEO Jason Kilar had previously been looking to take an exit. Saw the writing on the wall. Seems we are having some audio difficulty.
You're coming through clear now, but yeah, no, you're cutting out quite a bit. And you weren't in the pre-show, which is kind of odd.
My internet showed strong before I went live. However, I am hearing whatever you're listening to in the studio.
That's impossible. My mic was muted.
I hear it going on right now, and I heard it while I was talking about that first article.
As you said now, my mic is legitimately muted. That's weird.
You're listening to a hockey game, and I'm hearing the play-by-play broadcasters clear as day.
Well, we're having issues of some sort, obviously. It's turned off now, but I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty fucking annoying. Apologies. Let's restart the Skype call, see if that helps.
Alrighty.
Those of you that can still hear me, I find it interesting that he could hear anything at all just because the mic was muted. So that's definitely problematic. Are you guys all hearing me fine? Can I be heard fine? I know you can't see me, but let me know if you're hearing me fine. And there's that tunnel noise again out of nowhere. What the hell?
Yeah, I heard a little bit of it that time too.
I got nothing on over here whatsoever. And they said they could hear me fine, but that's interesting. Let's re-add you. And see if we can have a restart on this.
So there was a little bit of a red flag that went up for me when you started the live stream. Usually I can hear the intro music, but this time when I heard it sounded like I was hearing it from your studio through your microphone. I didn't hear it directly like I usually do.
Yeah, that's weird. We've been having those issues over Skype calls lately, so it's a Skype thing that's going on. Why, I'm not so sure. Some of the people that have been, when we've had 3 or 4 people on Fandom Empire Live, I'm just checking my audio. Yeah, no, everything. Oh, hang on.
Is it an input setting, maybe?
It is. The fucking, again. So I've sounded like shit this entire time. I have to go back and...
sound really clear.
Oh, my God. Fuck Skype. Skype is fucking bullshit. I can say that. Oh, all right. Yeah, it's an input issue, which explains how they were picking up the H2O movie at times. So,
Aha. Yeah, so funny story. It happened to me during a football game last fall. My input was set to the computer microphone instead of our headsets. And so we were just talking really, really loudly into this teeny tiny little microphone doing a play-by-play that sounded like absolute dog shit. And then I was really pissed at our camera because it was trying to look at the scoreboard, because legally in Texas, that's all you can show. You can't show the playing field live. And so we were just trying to look at the scoreboard, and it kept getting the white balance kept getting out of focus. And so I was really pissed at that and started dropping F-bombs talking about my technology when I thought our mixer was muted.
oh,
And people started texting me during halftime and was like, we can hear you, right? I was like, shit. So
let's start fresh and see what happens there. That's real messed up. I don't get why it did that.
I'm game for whatever, dude. Thank you to everyone that's playing along with us as we experience and work through these technical mishaps. We appreciate your patience.
All right, let's give it another shot.
You starting from scratch or picking up?
I'll start from scratch.
All righty. Take two.
Just to see if you hear anything during the intro. Paranoid.
Well, if I'm hearing you as clear as I am, I bet I'll hear the intro. We'll be good.
All righty.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Fandom News Now. I'm your host, Zach Arnold, and this is a Fandom Empire exclusive. Thank you for tuning in with us on this beautiful Thursday evening. At least it's beautiful in Texas. Hopefully it's beautiful wherever you're tuning in from. And if you're tuning in after the fact, welcome to the show. Be sure to hit subscribe and like and all that good stuff so that you can stay alert for alerts whenever this show and other programs on Fandom Empire go live. We have some really interesting stuff to talk about this evening, so let's go ahead and dive right into it. On tap tonight, things like potential company mergers, movie announcements, TV show information, and much more. One of the headliner topics that came up over the course of this past week was the news that broke that AT&T is officially selling their controlling interests to Warner Media, excuse me, in a mega deal to Discovery, which would give them a controlling interest in streamers like HBO Max and leads to a potential merger with that streamer and Discovery's own streaming service, Discovery Plus. In a joint statement between the two companies, they said the transaction will combine Warner Media's storied content library of popular and valuable IP with Discovery's global footprint, trove of local language content, and deep regional expertise that goes across more than 200 countries and territories. In the report, it said that the transaction is going to total approximately $43 billion in stocks, shares, and interests. Discovery CEO David Zaslav has been announced to be the CEO of this newly merged group, with reports that Warner Media's CEO Jason Kieron had been previously looking into making an exit at Warner anyway. It's entirely possible that this merger has been discussed for some time, and Kieron saw the writing on the wall and decided to leave. This is an interesting development for me personally because I recently subscribed for HBO Max, but made a conscious decision not to go with Discovery Plus. There just didn't seem to be enough content in there to bring me in. And now there's the possibility of a bundle, such as what you get with Disney Plus. And there's also the possibility of just bringing the two of them together outright with this new mega deal. According to reports, Amazon is also pondering a purchase of their own, and that one would be Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, also known as MGM. That company has an extensive library, including the James Bond franchise, the Rocky franchise, and currently produces shows like The Handmaid's Tale for Hulu and Fargo for FX. An article from Variety suggests that the offer would be in the range of approximately $9 billion. Apparently, this first announcement between AT&T and Discovery has been officially approved by the FCC, so that deal is official. But Amazon's purchase of MGM has not been made official yet, so that may still be pending some legalities. My question for the chat, which of these do you feel like is going to be more beneficial? Do you feel like MGM being under Amazon's umbrella is going to be better for that company? Do you feel Discovery purchasing Warner Media is going to be good for the likes of HBO programming, Warner Brothers programming, and Discovery's programming as a whole? Personally, I don't see the two of those things being synonymous with one another, but obviously money talks. A lot of people are saying that there's technical difficulties, and a lot of people are saying that there's really hot weather wherever they are. Number one, technical difficulties have been resolved. We appreciate your patience on that matter. And then number two, I really don't want to hear anybody bitching about the weather because I live in Texas and it is muggy as hell right now. Temperatures in New York are apparently 86 right now, but it's probably about 86 Fahrenheit here in Texas when you account for how muggy it's been. We've had rain for literally the last 4 straight days. So cloudy, overcast, humid, warm. It's the perfect storm of absolute yucky. Should have worn a hat tonight, but I didn't. That's how messed up my hair is. Fans of the Rick and Morty fan show here on Fandom Empire will be happy to know that a Rick and Morty spin-off series titled The Vindicators is in the works at Adult Swim. An article from The Hollywood Reporter gives the description as follows. Answer the Vindibeacon and join your old pals Supernova, Vance Maximus, Alan Rails, Crocobot, and Noob Noob as they fight crime, avert genocide, and yuck it up without Rick and Morty. The Vindicators is executive produced by Erica Roseby, Sarah Carbiner, Dan Harmon, and Justin Roiland. I guess I'm not far enough into Rick and Morty to actually know about the Vindicators. That's weird. I thought I was doing decent keeping up with the show, but this is one that kind of went by me. The Vindicators is one of 3 or 4 short programs that are going to be airing on Adult Swim. They're not feature length or even television programming length. They're not going to be 25, 30-minute episodes. They're going to be more like shorts, almost like what you got from the Clone Wars micro series back in the early 2000s on Cartoon Network. A 5-minute episode here, a 6 or 7-minute episode there. But it is interesting to see that the Rick and Morty universe is expanding. I'm sure our friend Kieron, who hosts the Rick and Morty fan show, has plenty of thoughts on this, so be sure to find the Rick and Morty fan show on social media, wherever it can be found, to be able to stay in touch with updates about this and other stuff from the Rick and Morty franchise. Switching gears, though, Jason Momoa has confirmed that filming for Aquaman 2 starts in July. Not too far away, considering we're more than halfway through with the month of May. He teases that he helped write the first draft of the film as well. In an interview with Drew Barrymore on YouTube, he said, "All of our hearts are in it." It's interesting to see just how passionate he is amid the scandal that has been coming up with his co-star from the first film, and just how much seems to have changed since the first Aquaman film. Obviously, the Snyder Cut, one of the things drawing a lot of attention right now. But it's interesting to see that the DCEU is continuing and that Aquaman 2 is continuing, and that Momoa had such a heavy hand in the creation of this particular film. Obviously, there are professional paid writers that are going to be taking this into its final drafts. But it's always interesting to see when an actor is trying to branch out and do some other things in their field, and writing is definitely one of them. I also heard that Dave Bautista, when he was working on Army of the Dead, he saw Zack Snyder's directing style and felt like he could be a director one day. So Bautista possibly getting into directing, Momoa possibly getting into writing. It's a very interesting time for cinema when the actors are looking to build upon themselves and expand their resumes just a bit. But yeah, be on the lookout for official announcements of Aquaman 2 filming starting this July. We got our first teaser for the Disney Plus / Pixar program, Monsters at Work. This teaser shows Mike and Sully being promoted to executives of a new company, which we end up seeing in the final moments of the original movie. As you may recall or may not, at the end of the first Monsters Inc. movie, they discovered that laughter was 10 times more powerful than scream, which was the primary source of energy for the monster world up until that point. Mike and Sully will now be taking over that company and turning it into a laughter corporation, and they will have a lot of help when they're doing that. They're going to be co-starred by the likes of Ben Feldman, Mindy Kaling, and even Henry Winkler. A personal friend of ours, Steven Stanton, who does the voice of Tarkin on shows like The Clone Wars, Rebels, and The Bad Batch, was also the voice of Admiral Raddus in Rogue One, has confirmed that he has a lot of involvement in this project as well. We're going to be getting John Goodman and Billy Crystal reprising their original roles, so this is shaping up to be an all-star cast indeed. The first episode of Monsters at Work is set to debut on Disney Plus next month. We've gotten some other teasers and trailers over this past week. We're just going to touch on them really quickly. There's been a release for The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, The Sparks Brothers, Snake Eyes, Hotel Transylvania, Transformania. I believe that's the 4th or 5th film in that franchise now. Sweet Tooth, Only Murders in the Building. A musical, Dear Evan Hansen, along with Fear Street and Jennifer Hudson as Aretha Franklin in Respect. It was in all caps, so I'm going to assume that you're supposed to spell it out. Maybe I should have waited for hyphens, but it could be called Respect. I don't know. My question to the chat, out of all of those that were just mentioned, and I'm sure I missed a couple of others that may have released today as well. It's been a busy day. I may have missed some of the ones that dropped today. Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, Sparks Brothers, Snake Eyes, Transformania, Sweet Tooth, Respect, even Monsters at Work. Is there one that jumped out to you that seemed most impressive, that you were kind of looking forward to, perhaps? I'm going to take a look at the chat real quick and see how things are shaping up here. Kenny says, so excited for Monsters at Work. And Solid Saturn confirms that is Hotel Transylvania 4. And also, thank you for reminding me, this announcement came out today. Hocus Pocus 2 has been confirmed by the folks over at Disney, with the entire original cast slated to come back. That movie has been confirmed to release sometime next year in 2022. One of the other big headlines of the night, part of the things that we were talking about for bringing you in to watch this program, was that there is an animated Injustice film officially in the works at HBO. A beloved storyline that has seen its iterations in graphic novels and video games has been confirmed to be getting something in a feature-length film format now. Comic Book first broke the news, but in their article, they also stated that no further information is currently available. So all we know is that we're getting Injustice, which is awesome. But there has been nothing else that's been released so far to this point. There's no voice cast. There's no release date. We just know that it is officially confirmed, and it is happening. There have been a couple of teaser images going around showing that the Joker is likely to be a headliner. That seems to be the general consensus, given how the Injustice storylines traditionally go. But there's no confirmation yet about it. If there's a particular storyline they're going to be picking up on, or if it's going to be a completely original story. There's no telling if Hamill will be voicing the Joker. Odds are probably not. He hasn't done anything with the Joker, I believe, since The Killing Joke. So it's very interesting to see that they are making the announcement that it's happening. They're saying, yes, this is a thing. This is going to happen. But then they really don't say anything else. So obviously, we will keep you apprised of the situation as stuff unfolds. But for now, there really isn't a whole lot to say about Injustice other than it's happening. But be sure to subscribe to Fandom Empire so you get alerts for fandom news now every Thursday, and we will make sure to give you updates as they happen right here on the program. Continuing with some of the DC storylines, we've also gotten information that Batman Caped Crusader is coming from the director of the upcoming film, The Batman, Matt Reeves, along with Bruce Timm and J.J. Abrams, will be producing a new animated series that has been described as a reimagining of the Batman mythology. It's a rather vague term, but it's also a rather interesting one, considering how much attention Batman has gotten over the years, whether you're talking about live action with 5 or 6 different versions of live action Batman showing up on the screen, or you're talking about the different animated formats that he has taken, the different voices that have played him throughout the course of the last several decades. To take that and put it on its head with people like Reeves, Timm, and Abrams at the helm, this reimagining of the Batman mythology is definitely shaping up to be an interesting story. But again, no casting information yet and no release date announced yet. But having those 3 people at the helm definitely should give people a little vote of confidence as to the direction that this could end up going. My personal opinion is that if Reeves is involved, if he is in the picture, then we could end up seeing potential tie-ins to that and the film starring Robert Pattinson. But we will have to wait and see. Kieron says Injustice is an amazing storyline. MODOK coming out soon on Hulu, says Alex. Thank you for the reminder there, Alex. And Kenny says, I did read the comic and played some of the Injustice video games and thought the story was good. Hopefully the animated movie is good as well. Supposed to be the Jenna Ortega. Don't know if you know that name, but you will in just a second. Jenna Ortega has been cast as Wednesday Addams for Netflix's live-action adaptation of that same character that is going to be directed by Tim Burton. We discussed this previously on the show a few weeks back, saying that it has been confirmed, but there were still open auditions. There was some casting that was still going on. And as of, I believe it was yesterday or 2 days ago, Ortega was shown in a selfie holding the script for this series that is set to come out, I believe, next year. She previously played young Jane on the TV show Jane the Virgin. She was Harley on a Disney's children's program called Stuck in the Middle. And this is where I know her from. I was very surprised to recognize her from this. She voices the character Brooklyn on the TV show Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous, which is releasing a new season tomorrow on Netflix. So very excited about that personally. A friend of mine is going to come over and we're going to be watching Camp Cretaceous, and I'll have a chance to, have a listen to Ortega's work. But what's very interesting is the character Brooklyn is usually very peppy, very excited. She's a internet sensation, and she has this following called Brooklanders. And in the show, Ortega is very peppy and excited. She's all like, "What's up, Brooklanders?" It's a very, very stark contrast from what we're going to get with a character like Wednesday Addams. So, to me, this indicates that Ortega is a very versatile actress and is very popular on multiple fronts. If she had some children's roles as a child actor, and now she's doing stuff in the animated front and the live action front, this is a very good time to be Jenna Ortega. What do you think of this casting announcement? Obviously, it's a very different approach, but she must have nailed the audition. So I'm interested to see what happens with this origin story of the character Wednesday as she learns to strike it out on her own, according to the synopsis that I've read online. Anything with Tim Burton in it is bound to be creepy enough to be worth watching. So that's something to look forward to. Toronto Freddy says she's also going to be in Scream 5, isn't she? I am not sure about that, Freddy. I will have to take a look at that. Alex says, I heard Jensen Ackles is going to be voicing Batman in something. Alex, you are correct, but I don't believe it's going to be this Caped Crusader series. I believe he's got involvement in something else that is Batman related, but I will have to check my sources on that. One other piece of note before we get ready to call it a night. If you have questions for the Q&A segment, go ahead and submit those now, and we'll take a look at those on the tail end of the program. From our sources, and trust us when we say this is just a rumor, RUMOR or OUR, depending on what country you're in. This is a rumor that we have heard that there is supposed to be some Halloween Kills material released tomorrow.
To be clear, sorry to interject here, just because we're going to be doing a stream on this. It is not from our sources, but it's from other people that create content on here that have at least shown they've been in the know-how. But I've heard nothing on this front. That's why I consider it a rumor.
People who know people instead of hearing it from our people. Is that a fair way to put it?
Yeah, I think that's accurate, which is basically why I'm not getting my hopes up for anything. So,
right. But anything related to Halloween Kills is worth mentioning, especially on this channel. Keep your eyes open, folks. We really weren't expecting the photo from Empire to drop when it did. So there is the possibility that articles, images, miscellaneous content, something could end up dropping tomorrow. But, until it actually happens, please treat this as just rumor and speculation, stuff that has been told through the grapevine, but nothing that has been officially set in stone. I definitely plan to keep my eye on social media anyways, just because I'm expecting some other information to drop. But we really should not be expecting anything on the Spider-Man front, at least for the not too distant future. Their official social media account started trolling the fans not too long ago. They reposted an image that was a picture of a old trailer, like a mobile home type of trailer that gets pulled around by a vehicle. And it had the Spider-Man No Way Home logo slapped across, and it's like, hey, we've got the new Spider-Man trailer. And then they quote tweeted that with the caption, as requested. So people have been requesting the Spider-Man trailer, and they fucking got one apparently, but not the one they were hoping for. So until these things become official, we're going to treat them as just a rumor. But keep your eyes peeled and stay tuned here on the Fandom Empire Network. If something does release, you can bet your ass that we're going to do a special edition video of it, breaking it all down and talking about it right here as soon as humanly possible. Final call for the Q&A segments. And while you send those in, I see a couple of them have been submitted already. I want to make note of one personal piece of news. Today, I registered for my final 2 graduate level classes of my college career. Starting this fall in late August, running into December, I will be taking my last classes as a college student and as a graduate student. By the end of December, around the time Spider-Man releases, I hope to have done enough classes to warrant a master's degree in communications. So I want to thank you all for your support, just tuning into this program as I start practicing news-related content, and for the behind-the-scenes support that you've shown as well. Be on the lookout for bigger and better things in 2022 once I graduate in December. Let's take a look at some of the questions that have been coming in. Kieron says, Zach, what is your favorite version of the Batman? It's a very good question, Kieron, and I've been back and forth on this several times over because they all have very important and very special merits, but I think I would have to give the nod actually to the animated series. I think there's just a lot that's going for it. There's a lot of texture, there's a lot of tone, there's a lot of intriguing storylines, great voice acting, great character development, things that really just epitomize what I expect from Batman as a character. That's not a knock on anybody like Michael Keaton or Christian Bale. I definitely enjoy Bale's trilogy, but I think seeing this animated Batman show up in his own series and then show up in the Superman series and the Justice League series, there's a lot of continuity that makes for some really, really great Batman. So if I had to pick one right here, right now, that would probably be what I picked. But there's so much out there. I really enjoyed Gotham, if I'm being honest. The entire Gotham storyline with young Bruce Wayne was also really cool. So there's a lot of Batman content out there, but I think I'd probably give the nod to the animated series. Next question. Kenny, I'm curious how big your comic book collection is, and do you from time to time get trade paperbacks of the omnibuses of graphic novels you like? Kenny, I will be honest, a lot of the comics that I read are online. I don't have very many hard copies, but I will say that the crown jewel of my collection will be my own copy of the Killing Joke graphic novel. I went and got it before the Killing Joke came out so that I could kind of get an idea for the texture of the animation style, so that I could get to know just how different and how serious the Killing Joke was shaping itself up to be. Even though it was a bit of a letdown, a big letdown. I completely hated that movie, and that's not one that I'm going to add to my DVD collection. And I've got a pretty big DVD collection, but that will not be going on it. So the crown jewel is the Killing Joke graphic novel, but a lot of what I read from comics is online, honestly. I have a lot of novels. I have a lot of the Star Wars Legends canon in novel format. I've got the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I've got the Jurassic Park books. I've got, the Song of Ice and Fire, Game of Thrones, like 5 novels of that. But as far as comics go, that is actually fairly limited. Let me see. Alex, how do you think they will handle the legacy characters in the new Scream movie? Alex, I'm probably honestly not the best person to ask about that. I think I've seen one Scream film, and that was like 6 years ago, and my memory is shit. So that's probably a question best saved for the Fandom Empire team. I'm sure there are going to be plenty of people on the ensuing roundtables that will be able to better answer that question. But I appreciate you sending in questions and content, everybody. But I think that may do it for tonight's episode. A reminder to follow Fandom Empire on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and so much more. We've got shows like this one, a news program. We've got the twice weekly Fandom Empire Live. And we've also got shows like the Rick and Morty Fan Show, Star Wars programs that pop up every now and then, like Across the Stars. And we've got other shows in the works, like a Supernatural and Game of Thrones show that are set to debut, hopefully by the end of this year or early next year. So be on the lookout for that as well. You can find me personally at Zach the Voice on just about every platform imaginable. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitch, and even Venmo. So check out that handle on the lower third at Zach the Voice and see what goes on in my life outside of Fandom News Now. The Intergalactic Peace Coalition just debuted on Fandom Empire. You can find that episode in the show reel, and there's going to be more to come starting next week. But for now, I think that's going to do it for this edition of Fandom News Now. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you next week, but until then, I'm Zach Arnold, and that's Fandom News to me.